We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Instead of those polls, Pontus and Johan, we'll just ask the question and I can see the answers that come in. I can read it off.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.
We got derailed and forgot to put the polls in.
I just saw from Syria there, Rodney, that the sound might jump through your Teams, I think.
Yeah, I turned it off. We got about 78 people, 77, 78 people. I think we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully you guys are all on and you're ready for a fantastic presentation. Before we get into reinventing your strength space and a look at the Prestera system, which is Eleiko's complete strength system, we just want to introduce ourselves. So I'm going to first, since I'm the one that's already starting to talk, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Rodney Korn. I'm the Director of Education here at Eleiko, and it's an absolute honor to always speak to our community, anything relative to Eleiko. I'm joined by two of our experts who will have most of the brains as we go through this, and so I'll pass it off, and Johan, if you want to just let them know who you are, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sure. Hello, everybody. Great to have you here, and I also look forward to this today. And please feel free to shout out some questions there in the chat forum. I work as a country and regional manager for Eleiko with Sweden and Finland as my territory, and do some business development and concept building for us. So super psyched to be here.
Yes, and my name is Pontus, and I'm a part of the product development team. And today I'm going to tell you about the kind of the technical aspects of the new Prestera system. Yes, so let's get started. Over to you, Rodney.
Yes, so thank you guys, and I look forward to hearing a lot more information from you. Before we get into it, just real quick administrative functions. You guys will all have essentially a control panel, depending on what type of device you're on. It may look a little different, but there's a control panel. You will be muted and there's no video. That's just to eliminate chaos. We will have time towards the end to ask questions. So we would love to be able to get questions, feedback, and be able to answer that for you as we get towards the end. The other thing is we're gonna have a few questions to start, just to kind of find out a little bit about who you are. That being said, when you answer these questions, it'll be in the questions tab. So if you look at your control panel, you'll scan down, you'll see a tab that says questions. Just click on that, and then you can type in the answers as we start with questions. And so we'll practice that right now, because what we want to do is just find out a little bit about you right now. So we would really like to know, what segment of the industry are you in? Is it CrossFit? Is it strength and conditioning? Is it the fitness and wellness? Is it corporate fitness? So if you could just type in one of those answers, or the answer that best describes what segments you work with, that would be extremely helpful. So just go to the questions right now. We have some powerlifting, we have a private setting, professional strength conditioning, fantastic, thank you, Matt. CrossFit, multi-purpose fitness, corporate fitness, excellent. Some CrossFit, gym ownership, campus recreation, beautiful. Physical therapy, excellent. Weightlifting, beautiful. Fitness and wellness, small group, physical therapy, powerlifting, excellent, excellent. Club management. All right, so Guys, we have a pretty good array of physical therapy, powerlifting, weightlifting, CrossFit, the fitness and wellness industry, some campus recreation, which is kind of a conglomeration of a lot of different things, and some gym ownership stuff. So a little bit of corporate fitness as well. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, so that being said, thank you for that. You guys all passed that with flying colors. The last question we want to get to before we start into this presentation is essentially, what is your experience or your background or knowledge with the Prestera system that you talk about? Would like to know how many of you have actually used it or seen it, been exposed to it? How many of you have heard about it but haven't actually seen it? And how many of you have never seen it? So if you can just answer that you've either seen it, experienced it, or you've just seen it, or you don't really know anything about it to this point. That'll give us a little feedback about where we're standing from that standpoint. And if you see me looking, I just have two computers open, so don't think that I'm weird. I'm just looking over here to make sure I can see answers because we want to know who you are. Okay, so we have people a couple that have never seen it in seminars, seen it at the Eleiko facility, heard about it, all new to it, good. Saw it and tested at URSA, and we will be at URSA again this year, so make sure you guys come by and see us. Seen it, heard about it, new to it, seen it. So we have a pretty good mix of seen it, heard about it, and never seen it. Excellent. So we're going to get into this and show you a variety of designs that are both renderings, but also case studies of actual people who got it and used it and what it looks like in their facilities. So with that started, we're going to get into this now and discuss just a little bit of background information of kind of where Prestera came from and how we derived at this particular point, because that's part of the best story and has to do with the Eleiko legacy that we have. So when we look at the industry and some of the training trends, let's start with the demographics. From a different demographical standpoint, we know now, and this has been a trend that URSA has shown, that's been in the American College of Sports Medicine Journal. We know that one, strength training has become far bigger in the industry and a far bigger component of an industry. A lot of clubs are now reducing the cardio equipment and size of the cardio space in their facilities, and they're going to more strength training equipment. A lot of that has to do with the CrossFit movement over the last couple of decades, which has made a huge impact, not only in what a facility looks like, but the actual styles of training for both men and women. We see that now more than ever, the styles are very similar between men and women, whereas 10, 15 years ago, they were very distinctly different. So what we find is, from URSA's statistics, the millennials and Generation Zs, they comprise about 50% of our facility members. And this is the younger crowd, and they favor the functional fitness. And when we talk about functional fitness, we're looking at training that involves more racks, more rigs, platforms, barbells, all the free weights, medicine balls, kettlebells, and a lot of the other tools and accessories that come with that. And that's fantastic. However, one of the things that happens is the patrons within the facilities, because a lot of facilities are piecing things together and trying to stay up with this trend, the patrons in the facilities are taking equipment from different areas of a facility, and they're trying to bring it into one spot to create their own little dedicated training space, whether it's one person or a couple of people who are training together. And what happens is, as they do this, they're bringing equipment all around from the facility. This often frustrates members because it's creating a lot of chaos and it's leaving a mess within the facility. So that's a key point, and I'm sure that some of you have probably experienced that in your own facilities or seen that in other facilities, unless you're in a CrossFit box specifically. But even there's been chaos. So it was interesting that recently there was an article published specifically on that. Why is it impossible to find an open squat rack at the gym? Because one, people are training strength training more often, but two, we still have people that are doing curls in the squat rack. And I think a lot of you know what I mean when I say that. So this is where we take a look at, when we understand who we're dealing with and what the demographic population is of the facilities that we're in, the equipment really should be consistent to the wants and needs of who's coming into that. And this is how we create a training environment that provides a greater lifter experience, which is vitally important, because that's ultimately what will benefit the facility. If the lifters in the facility are happy and they have a great experience, that transcends into a better facility association, meaning they enjoy that facility, and that will benefit the facility on many levels. When we look at the equipment really should feature a favorable footprint to patron ratio. In essence, how many people can use that equipment at one time, and then does it allow multiple exercises and exercisers to all be performing and working in that particular space? That's going to be vitally important. Whereas oftentimes a treadmill, you can only have one person on that treadmill at a time, hopefully. Whereas in different strength training areas, it's possible to have multiple people working in that space with different exercises at one time. We're going to show you lots of renderings with that. It should align to the patron's varied training interests and equipment preferences. So not everyone's going to train barbell training, not everyone's going to train cable training, not everyone's going to do. So do we have the ability to align with multiple training interests, weightlifting, powerlifting, more of the functional training, using body weight, free weight of all kinds, and tables? And we're going to show you what that looks like. And the equipment should help coaches, trainers, and or teams be more effective and efficient with their programming strategies, which aligns with the other three bullet points that we just mentioned right there. So now the challenge. In order to stay relevant and meet the demands of today's patrons, there really needs to be a versatile, space-efficient strength training space that has more strength equipment versus the cardio equipment. When we say that, probably now more than ever, there's more choices in equipment. And when we have all these different choices, there's a few challenges that are faced that oftentimes ownership operators overlook, and this is sometimes what causes chaos. Number one is cost versus quality, safety, and experience. Sometimes you can go for a cheaper product, however, you sacrifice the quality and safety, how long it lasts, which means how often are you fixing, repairing, and or having to update. And then what's the experience that the lifters are going to get from that particular equipment? Because ultimately, your lifters or your members or your patrons, they are your biggest source of marketing still. The footprint, how much space is the equipment taking up? And then what is the utilization capacity of that equipment in that space? Because more than ever, we're starting to create free open space in facilities. So you can get all the equipment that you need in a favorable footprint to still allow for more open space. And then the aesthetics. Does it look and feel like you want your facility to look and feel? Does it map to, from a facility standpoint, your brand? Does it have the ability to accommodate the style of your brand? And then at the same time, is it pleasing to the eye for the lifter to enhance their experience, not only in its looks, but in its feel? And then functionality, which is what we kind of talked about on the previous slides. Does it meet the demands of who's coming into the gym? Is it a trusted and proven manufacturer, somebody who's been around for a while, who's going to stay around for a while, and who has experience in this particular area? All of these will impact the lifter experience, the facility brand, and ultimately revenue. So the solution, one of the biggest impacts, I love this picture too, and those of you that never got to see this great man lift live, you don't know what you're missing. That was pretty awesome back then. Anyways, just telling you how old I am without telling you how old I am. So the solution is lean on the expertise of those who have a proven track record of innovation, safety, quality, and durability, so that they can help you navigate the challenging needs and environments. And that's what we're trying to accomplish at Eleiko. So let's talk about now and introduce you to the Prestera system. Some of you that have never seen it, the Prestera system is a full line of strength. It's a strength system, and it has multiple adaptations and processes, and that's this whole presentation we'll see. But what we've done is that we've applied the learnings of all of the equipment that we've developed over the last 60 plus years, and we combine that with top athletes and facilities and try to create a customizable and scalable system. In essence, we're trying to find out what was needed, and then we develop things based upon the feedback and input we get. So it's not us telling the industry, here's what you need to have. It's the industry saying, this is what we'd like to have, and we come out with a version of it. So what we're trying to do with Prestera is address the needs of today's members and the operators' challenges to create better performance outcomes, both in experience and also in business. It's essentially a modular foundation that has a compact user-centered design, and it provides a friction-free experience. And that's what we talk about, and Johan and Pontus will get in more of that, about the attachments and how they glide, and how smooth it is, and how simple it is, which is a huge for experience as well as for safety and everything else. It has to be approachable, which is what we've created, something that's not intimidating, it's not monstrous, and it has an awesome footprint. Yet it's designed with the rigor and experience and expertise of performance, safety, and longevity that we've always provided at Eleiko through our equipment. And so in essence, what we did is we listened to what the customers and the lifters had to say about creating the optimal training environment and optimal lifting experience, and then we developed equipment to match it. So what transpired was a more streamlined, high-quality rack system, and the streamline is very important, and Pontus will get into that in a second. What we mean when we say streamline. There's more precision in adjustments and exercise variety per unit of space, because that's what the demographics are demanding. There's a seamless integration of multiple pieces and components of equipment. So we have a variety of attachments that we'll go through, and hopefully we'll get through as many as we possibly can. But they all seamlessly fit together, which is essential. It's virtually endless configurations to accommodate any facility. So you'll see a variety of different looks and feels that, depending on what your facility space size is, we can adapt to that. Do you have posts that you want to build around? Do you have taller ceilings, smaller ceilings? All of those things, we have the ability to create nearly endless configurations for you. And it's a system that, this is really important, it's cohesive and it always looks complete regardless of its complexity. We're going to start off and show you three kind of different options or variances that we can have. And you can be as simple as you want, or you can be as complex as you want, but either way, it always looks like it's a finished product. And we'll show you how that expands as we move forward. And so with that, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let the experts do what they do best. And we're going to get into talking about what we've done and how this actually looks. Pontus.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so if we start with the uprights, the new Prestera uprights have a dimension of 70 by 70 millimeters, which is about 2.75 by 2.75 inches. And this is a reduction of 12.5% compared to our previous XF80 system and many of the competitors on the market. And by reducing the dimension of the uprights, we give more space for the lifter when both racking and unracking the barbell. And both the rig and the rack are designed in a way that allows us to do this without compromising on safety or stability. The uprights for the rack have a steel thickness of 3 millimeters. You can actually go back to the previous slide, Rodney. Yeah, so the uprights for the rack have a steel thickness of 3 millimeters, which is about 11 gauge. And the uprights for the rig have a steel thickness of 4 millimeters, which is almost 8 gauge. And the reason for this is basically to make sure that the rig is stable enough, no matter if you're using our tallest uprights or if you're using shorter ones. All uprights have numberings that are uniform for both the rig and racks. And the powder coater uprights have a hole spacing of 50 millimeters, which is about 2 inches. And the stainless uprights have a hole spacing of 25 millimeters, which is about 1 inch. Also have a small chamfer to make them more durable. And now we can move on to the attachments. Yeah, with the new Prestera system, we already have more attachments than ever before, and there are even more to come. On this slide, you can see a handful of our most popular ones. If we start off in the top left corner, we have the Smith attachment that is very popular and often used on one of the sides in a double half rack or in a rig setup. It has a 50 kilogram barbell with a grip diameter of 35 millimeters that glides smoothly on the vertical shaft thanks to high quality bearings. And if we move on to the right, we have our gliding J-cup that glides against the upright. And when using these, you never have to worry about losing your J-cups ever again because they are fixed to the upright. You can also see our adjustable pull-up handles that allows the user to vary both grip width and grip angle. We also have adjustable pull-up bars, our new split squat pad, and an adjustable pad that mounts to one of our safety arms. You can also see our hip thrust pad and our Prestera landmine attachment. We can move on to the next slide. Yeah, so together with the new Prestera system, we have developed the cable rack attachment, both for the rigs and for the racks. And this attachment really takes your training station to the next level. By using large aluminum pulley wheels with tight tolerances, we have achieved the smoothest cable feeling. It has a 120 kilogram weight stack and a 2-to-1 pulley ratio. And the weight starts at 3 kilos and the weight increments are 1.5 kilos. Safety is always our top priority, and this attachment is no exception. By having large cover plates, the whole system is enclosed according to the ISO standard, which minimizes the risk of injury. And with double pop-ins on the carriage, we also have made sure that both hands are out of the way when adjusting height. And the cover plates are made in steel, so they will last for a long time. And you can decide for yourself if you want just one cable in your rack or if you want two. And there is no left and right, so the same attachment actually fits just as good on both sides. So the cable rack is quite of a system for itself, and it has different attachments for storage, for example, both for the different handles, but also when combining with storage shelves. And we offer several different handles. We have the single handles, the straight bar, and the connector bar, all with our well-known Eleiko knurling. Yes, so let's move on.
And I just want to say one thing, because when we see this with those the pulley system that we have there, Pontus, is the smoothness of that cable. If you've not used this cable system, I strongly urge you to get your hands on it because it's probably the smoothest. I'm speaking from experience, having just come back from the headquarters here in the US. It's probably the smoothest cable that's on the market right now because of the pulley design. I think it has to do with the dimensions and the actual material that's made, because they're aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you're at in the world. And they are phenomenal as far as the lifting experience goes, besides the durability of it.
Yeah, can I also just put something in there? A super anecdote. I will then continue also. But you mentioned, Pontus, that we have the Eleiko knurling on all these handles, and as you all know that listens now, it can be a very big difference in the feel of when you're doing exercises in a cable machine of depending on what kind of handle it is. So it is our steel, it is our knurling, it's a crazy good grip. And on the anecdote side, of course I'm biased here, but we had a customer over for some weeks ago, and you can see in the middle there, the third from the left, there is a short bar, a straight bar. It's in aluminum, and I gave this to the customer, and he's an old, he comes from bodybuilding, but now he's more functional fitness kind of guy, and he actually started to cry a bit because it was such amazing grip and feeling. So just a side point, but it's a good story that I like to tell, because it really tells you a lot about the grip share. Even though it's a detail, it is really a good feeling. So but please continue here, Rodney.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It's real quick to that point. If you're a weightlifter, powerlifter, or someone who's used the barbell a lot and you love the feel of a good barbell and has knurling, though, using the handles as well, it has that same feel. So you don't feel like you're grabbing kind of a rubber handle or a rubber ball or something. It actually has that same feel, which is amazing. I just totally second that because I heard that. I felt that when I was down there. Okay, Pontus, sorry.
So moving on, I think it's actually Johan's.
Yeah, I will jump in here. But and on the point you mentioned, Ursa, Rodney, of course, if you're going to FIBO, please also come and visit us, and you can feel the equipment that we have brought. Or if you have the way by Eleiko in Halmstad, please come by.
Sure.
So the plan from now on is that we will look into more or less like 3 different options. So we build up from the small one, which is the rack, and then we'll go into the hybrid, which is a hybrid then of the rack and rig, and then to the rig. So we will kind of take it in that order. And the purpose of this is, of course, to be a lot of inspiration and give you an idea of what you can do with this equipment then. So we can move forward. Okay, so here is the half rack, the Prestera half rack, and I just wanted to show you this because I think you have a good idea here of how the gliding J-cups and gliding safety arms works. So exactly as Pontus said, I know even if you're a big operator or operating a smaller studio, it can always be big hassle with J-cups and safety arm, because maybe you have a new member and they don't even know how to adjust it, how to remove it, or how to get it there, or how to find it because it's somewhere out there in the gym. So the gliding option is a really great option to know where you have your stuff, but also with the 2-handed grip, you will just lean it out and pull the pop pin out, and then you can remove it very, very easily. And since you have the holding here very tight, 2.5 centimeters, you will also have more options to adjust it to your exact preferred height. And also, as Pontus said here, what it means that it went from 80, there we are, 80 to 70 millimeters. It also means that you will have more space in between the legs, so you can have a wider grip when you're benching without squeezing and crushing your fingers. And then where you are doing a squat, for example, it will not be as easy for you to actually hit the safety bar, for example, with the disc. It will go outside of it. So it has a lot of benefits, and the whole purpose with this is that, as Rodney said in the beginning, that we put the athlete, the lifter, in the center, and we wanted to create the greatest lifter experience possible together with the most user-friendly setup. So, and this is the result. So let's move forward to the different kind of half racks.
And so, real quick, to that point, Johan, real quick, and that goes with the safety arms as well. So if you're either using the J-cups or the safety arms, and you're using some type of snatch grip, which is obviously a wider grip, and you're doing some type of pull, they allow you to get out wide enough to where you don't have to always go from the floor, because sometimes people want to do different things from a safety arm or even taking it out of the J-cup. So just to let you know that it has plenty of width for almost all snatch grips, depending on obviously how tall you are in your arm length, etc. So
yeah, and I think it's also worth to mention that of course there are other options than the gliding J-cup. So there are actually 4 options on the J-cup. So and we like to call it the throne of the barbell, because it is. And we have everything from the simplest J-cup to then more advanced J-cup with like the powerlifting J-cup with the roller on it, and then to the gliding one. But anyways, so here you can we have put out here from the kind of the different racks. We have the half rack to the left, as you can see, and this is the scaled down version that you can build upon. So you can see the Prestera system like a Lego, like something that you can build out however you would like. You can start out with the half rack. You can then build it out to a double half rack, as you see that to the right. You can build out the half rack to a power rack, and farthest to the right there you have a half rack with the power rack. And of course there are a lot of different kinds of possibilities or opportunities when it comes to safety beams etc., and attachments. So this is the kind of framework for the half rack, and a very liked and popular setup that a lot of our customers, maybe you have started to work with, is the double half rack with the cables and J-caps on one side, and then you put the Smith machine on the other side, so it gets extremely space efficient. You can either then choose to put like storage in between, or a mirror, which is also popular. But there's a lot of options to build from here now. So we just wanted also to show you some pictures of sites. So this is Strandparken Gym in Copenhagen, Denmark. They have put in the Prestera half racks. Might be hard to see, but they have the cables here also. So the cables are set up as high as possible, and then you can also put in the J-caps there, not the gliding ones then. You probably could, but then it would be tight. But now you can put the J-cap on, and then you can take it off, so you can adjust the cable fully from top to bottom. And this then makes what we have developed now for some time, which is the kind of strength station. So with the strength station, the purpose is that you should be able to more or less train everything on the same spot. So you can do your full program here. You can do your shins. You can put in a dip module. You can work with the barbell. You have the bench. We can also have, as we will see soon, some storage solutions here. And of course, if you add some cardio, you have a very good setup. We can actually move forward, Rod, and head to the next, which is a setup of double half racks, where we have then cables on one side, as you can see here. We also have the landmine for some other opportunities. On the other side, we have half rack also down with the J-caps and barbell. So this is a concept that maybe it would fit you, maybe it would not, but for a customer that wanted a space with the opportunity for a single person to do whatever, an individual to do whatever they would like in a rack, but also for multi-use, so you can have one person on one side, one person on the other side, and for example then both use barbells for the workout, and then also to do a group session. So you could be 2 people here. You can also of course be 4 people here. Since you have the cables, you can use 1 cable a person. And then to the right here, you can see some black framing going on, and that is actually treadmills. So in this case, the customer and we have put together a concept where you include then some cardio, and you use these as stations. And when you don't use them as group training, members can use them however they would like. So very space efficient, also very popular when it comes to personal trainers, studios, etc., to be able to have more or less everything in one place. Here is another setup, and we just wanted to show you it, even though it's a bit dark. You have here then double half racks, and this is from Canada, and you have the full storage also in the middle of the half racks. I understand it might be a bit hard to see, but you have some slam balls there, you have some hex dumbbells, and of course you have the SVR platform. If you're not familiar with it, it stands for sound and vibration reduction, and it's very good to use if you have some problems with vibrations and sounds in your facility. It kind of kills that and gets a bit of a more comfortable environment for everybody. And also it also looks very clean and nice when it's set it up in this way, of course. We had a customer that we visited here last week, and they had the frames of the double half racks, and on one side they had the cable to the right, And on the other side, they also have one cable to the right. So they didn't go for the double cables, they did one on each side, but that meant that they can be actually 4 people training on one double half rack, one with landmine, one with cable on each side. So a very efficient setup. We are about to jump in then to the hybrid solutions. So the hybrids is where we in the foundation we have the racks, but then you can build them out. So in this case, for example, you have a muscle up bar in between the racks, which means that you can use that. But of course, there are a lot of options what you can put either in between the racks or however you would like to put it there. So let's move forward here and see what we can do. So in this rendering, we have half racks, as you can see. It could have been double half racks also. We have not put the storage in the rack. We have put the storage in between, but still it's pretty space efficient. You can use it and you can get to it both from the front of the racks, but also from the back, depending on then how you want to set it up and how you want to use it. It looks like, of course, you want to use the cables in each station, but if you would like a wider cable here, you can of course use one cable from one rack and another cable from the other rack, so to speak, so you get a bit of a more width. So a lot of options here and a lot of ways to do it. It's more or less only your imagination that kind of sets the limits. Just another suggestion that's possible to do. If you haven't worked with the XF80 or the Prestera storage, the disc or plate storage is the one that you see down below there. At least for me as a Swede, it looks like a bicycle tire, setting. Maybe it does that for you as well. But this is just another way of doing it. Of course, we have the cable attachment storage with hooks, which also you can put more or less whatever you would like on it. You can also use it from the other side to do like handstand push-ups or use it for your feet. So there's a lot of options even with the storage parts here.
Yes, so let's move on with the last of the 3 options. And now we have the new Prestera rig system. So with the new Prestera rig, we have the same seamless design and the Scandinavian design as we have on the racks. And there are now more components than ever before. We have crossbars in various lengths and angles, and these can be used in 1,000 different combinations, which makes it possible for customers to be really creative with their rigs and build a rig that is really optimal for their facility, because all spaces and facilities look different. And as Rodney mentioned earlier, you can kind of develop your rig with time. So maybe you start off with a smaller rig and then you realize, okay, we want to make it larger. Then we have several different components so you can actually maximize your space. And moving on, one interesting new component is our angle adapter that allows you to build interesting shapes with your rigs, and not just build rigs that are rectangular or squared, but to have maybe triangular shapes or like this octagon rig, or you can also kind of connect to different rigs, like in an angle that maybe follow the facility. There might be a wall that's not entirely straight, or however you would like. So now Johan will go through some other setups using these new parts.
Yes. So this is my definitive favorite. And so this is the octagon, and I haven't seen it before. Maybe you have somewhere, but I think it's a pretty new kind of setup, and now we have scaled it down very much. And in this situation, when we built this with the customer, the purpose was to have a very friendly and not intimidating weightlifting area for members, for people that's not been used to work with the barbell before. So then you can use it just as this. You just put J-cups on it. Of course, you can put a lot of other stuff, but just as a very nice, user-friendly weightlifting, or why not barbell introduction area. So as you understand, there's a lot of options, but this is the thought of this. And maybe Rodney, you have something there to add on.
The one thing with this is, you see, because of the way that we're able to build it, is if you have pylons in your facility that interrupt your space, this is a way that you can actually work around the pylon and still have usable space within your facility, or anything else that you may have, depending on how the facility is laid out. So there's so much variety. I just want to make sure you are thinking about, if you're looking at the potential to get something, and you're looking at your actual space and the dimensions of your space, and then who you have and what types of training, because this can be fantastic for group training, as well as just having open gym training as well. So I think it's just really important that we understand our space, and then you don't limit yourself based upon what's possible 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but what's possible now.
Yeah. And this is then the one that has gotten a bit more muesli in the morning, so to speak. This is fully equipped. This is everything that we more or less can put on it. So of course, it's in comparison with 2 double half racks. This actually takes up a bit more space, but still, if you have the space, this could be a very nice way of designing it, because it's very different. It's all together, but still it's quite, cut off from each other. When you had the totally open one, it would be very natural to have like the instructor in the middle. Here it would be a different kind of setup, but as you can see, you have split squat pad there. You have more or less everything that you can store. You have the cable, you have the J-cup, so you can do whatever you would like with the barbell. You have the chin up, and then of course you can put in the dips module and everything. And I mean, it would of course be pretty cool, probably, at least in my opinion, to have some of these in a facility and build it up from that. But anyway, so just some inspiration, what's possible. And here are some storage then for Pontus.
Yes. So we've shown some different renderings where we've shown the different storage shelves. But with the new Prestera system, there are many efficient storage possibilities thanks to our new storage adapter. So this adapter allows you to fit more shelves than ever before, and you can have them offset relative to each other, or you can use them to create more space inside the rig or the rack. And you can also use them for better ergonomics, or to have certain shelves dedicated to a certain side of the rig, as you can see on the third picture from the left right here. We can change to the next slide.
Yeah, so we have some pictures here we just wanted to share with you, and please feel free then to drop in interest and questions in the chat about it. So these are just different options with the same kind of functionality. This is a pretty large CrossFit rig that also includes then a cable solution. So we have a lot of CrossFit and functional fitness customers, and it's pretty common for us to have the conversation with them that when maybe members injure themselves, or they want to get back from an injury, or do some more prehab or rehabilitation, they don't always have the equipment for it. Probably some rubber bands and etc., and maybe some lighter dumbbells. But if you put in then the cables here, it doesn't take up more or less any more space, but still there's so much more opportunities for you to keep a member, to get in members in another time in their in their own training journey. They can do their prehab here. They can do, of course, then a lot of training. You can do other kinds of groups and open gym, etc., etc. So just see this as an example of what's possible.
Yeah, and Johan, to that point, that's fantastic. And I want to remind everyone, as Pontus pointed out, the weight stack goes to 120 kilograms. Is that right, Pontus? So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When you're talking 120 kilograms, you're talking about a whole lot of weight. So that's well over 240 pounds. So when you're training, you can use these cable systems as all kinds of different things. It's great functional training, even for people who are powerlifters and weightlifters who want to have some type of variance in their workout. The ability to use cables, whether you're going to try to do some type of pulling exercise, whether you're going to do some pressing exercises, it affords you, one, the load, but it also affords you a different feel for the tissue, for your muscles, and it has a very smooth feel to it. So it can be great for maybe taking some stress off the tissue and allowing yourself to recover differently, and or just creating a different training environment for whatever the facility lends itself to, or whatever your particular preference is.
Yeah, and here's just another example of how you can explore with the system. You have the cables, you have some ropes, you have some other attachments, so you can of course use this as mentioned before, then for the individual trainer, for a group, or for a multi-use purpose then. So it's always a possibility or option to either get the storage within the rig, get the storage or get it freestanding. And this is actually the rig that we have now in our headquarters here in Halmstad, in our sports center. And this is a multi-purpose rig then. So it's attached together with the 45 angle attachment thing there in the middle to left, if you can see and understand what I mean. You have the rig part just in front of us, and you can also there see the seamless design that Pontus spoke about before. Our old one, the XF80, and a lot of the rigs in the market, they have a lot of things, you know, standing up here and there, but this is a bit more smoother. So you can use the inside of this L, so to speak, for an open area where you can do a lot. You have a rack on the left, you have 2 rack stations in the rig. You could do like a functional fitness class, you can do a CrossFit class. You have a lot of options. And then on the left, on the outside, you kind of see that there's a cable. There's also a rack, so at the same time you could do a personal training session, or whoever would like to use that can do that simultaneously as this rig is in use, and the full space within it is also then used for training. Oh, here we go, perfect. So there is the cable and the storage for the cable, and of course some storage for other stuff, which you can use then both in the area behind it, in the bigger one, and on this side of it, whatever you would like to do there. So so this is one that we have at the moment that you can come and see if you would like to visit us for some coffee and waffles.
And gentlemen, as we're getting closer to the end of the hour, we'll just kind of scan through some of this so you guys can see some of the various options that there are. We do have some customizations that you can create from a customization standpoint that we can touch on. But as I'm scanning through this, if any of you have questions, go ahead in the question box and just type them in, and I'll make sure that we look at them, and I'll get those addressed so we can start seeing if anything has spawned an interest, anything has created a question that you would love to ask and get an answer for. Feel free to do that as we scan through some of these. And then here's some customizations that we can do. I don't know if you want to speak to some of these at all.
Yeah, I can go through them quite quickly. Earlier we spoke about the different Prestera racks, and here you can see like the entire system. So basically we have the spot stand, which is like the most simple one to the left, going up to our tallest rig upright on the far right.
Okay, so
basically,
I'm gonna interrupt Pontus because we got some questions. I'd love to hear the answers.
Yeah.
So 2 questions real quick, more cable related. Can we expect to see more cable attachments being released this year than what we showed?
Yeah, and I know there are some different like handles, and I know also there are different variations of the cable, not just inside of the rack, but other like single station and dual adapt.
So does that mean that there's any chance of a pull down attachment for the Prestera in the future?
Yeah, I think it will also work quite good with the tall rack, with actually the current like system, because it will also be an adaptation to the tall rack. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. And to that point, when you ask these questions, when these arrive, because of the way Prestera is built, everything attaches and everything will be able to fit seamlessly. So you're not trying to figure out a space that it needs to go in or figure out how I bolt this thing on. It's all built to the same spec. So everything's going to be able to be fit into that. So that's where the beauty of this system comes, and that's what goes back to, no matter how simple you desire to start, you can always add on depending on desired needs and space, your dimensions. And every time you add on, you'll be able to add on and it still looks like it's complete. So it'll always look as a finished product, no matter how simple or how complex you get with it. All right, let's say a picture of an outside setup. So it can be left outside. So we do have an outdoor setup, and it can be left outside, correct? Because of the galvanized.
Yeah, exactly. I think we had like a quick rendering with the container. It's not the container rig itself, but there is a rig in the galvanized like option. If you go back a few slides.
So just on the point there, just so it's super clear. So the Prestera also comes in galvanized, and the galvanized is perfect for outdoors. So we also have that in the XF8, and it more or less takes all kinds of weather. And we have some of the attachments also in galvanized.
And are there any boxing attachments coming out, like a speed bag platform?
Not at the moment, but I'm sure if we see the demand that we will look into it.
And then there was a question about the lat pull and low row. So the pulley system it's with a 1-to-1 ratio, it has a 2-to-1 ratio is what we have. So there's the plan, or they're looking into the lat pull down coming out, and then with the low row, you can pull the pulley system down to the bottom and use a low row. So that's already there. Is there a prone row attachment in development, and if so, when will it be available? Now we technically have kind of a prone row bench already, which is like the steel bench.
Yeah, so exactly. So for the rig, we have the glute developer, and we have the seat. So we don't have a prone row attachment for the rig, except then of course, as you mentioned, Rodney, the steel row bench then. But there will of course be a lot of attachments coming up here.
And I think you can also use we have the adjustable pad that mounts to a safety arm. You can use that one as well, at least when using dumbbells for your rowing.
Right. Okay. And I think that it is very important to know if it is needed, if a special floor is needed. Or
we always recommend, so we always recommend bolting the rig and rack to the ground. In case the customer don't have the opportunity, we also have these large bottom plates that kind of connects the uprights to each other to make it stable enough in case they can't bolt them to the ground. So there are options for like both options.
Someone asked about horizontal bar storage as well as vertical bar storage. I think our storage is horizontal, but it stacks vertically. I'm not sure exactly what the question is, if they're trying to go vertical.
Yeah, we do have like an attachment. it's like a hanging bar storage. So it's I think it even was on some of the images that we may have shown. Not sure though, but it's a vertical bar storage that goes right on the upright or across bar.
Okay. Someone asked about a belt squat. Didn't we have people that are using the cables in some form or fashion as belt squat, using some type of ability to do a belt squat like movement?
Yeah, I mean the belt squat and similar is of course of interest for us. It's not something that we're gonna launch now, but it might be in the future sometime.
Okay. And then jammer arms could be attached to the rig. Would we see that soon?
I know there are some prototypes of some jammer arms, so I guess they will be launched pretty soon, and they will be for both the rack and the rig, since they are like the same system.
Someone said, can the rig storage handle body tempering equipment? Don't know what body tempering equipment is.
I didn't really.
Sorry, Matt, I'm not sure what you're saying with body tempering equipment. Apologies. Oh, sorry, that was John was talking about, John Holland. John, don't know what you mean by that. If you want to expand on that, we can try to get to that. Says, will there come an option to be able to lock an Eleiko bench into a Prestera rack to ensure it's always in the middle or same position?
Well, we do for the at least a squat stand. It should work for the racks as well. We have like a spotter attachment that actually fixates the bench in the middle. It should be able to work for at least. It should actually work for all of the setups, since they have the same width, no matter if it's a rig or a rack. So there is like a current.
The one for the powerlifting training.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Rodney, when you between your reads, maybe you can just switch to the custom side here. I think it might be interesting just for the people to see what. Yeah.
So I think I can just mention quickly some of the customizations possibilities that we have. We have some different colors, as you may have seen in the previous slide. And on top of that, you can choose to have like your gym logo or any other text or symbol on our wall ball targets. You can have them on platforms. We also have some customization plates, both in powder coated and in stainless steel, where you can have basically whatever you would like to.
Well, as it is just about the top of the hour, I think we'll go ahead and let everyone, in respect of everyone's time, we'll finish with that. I hope that was informative. We hope that you gained something from that. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out on the website. You can request some type of information or to speak to a salesperson through the website as well. You're more than welcome to contact Eleiko Education email that you have on this, and we'll be happy to field you and funnel you to the right particular people that will be helpful for you if you just let us know any desires that you have. So we thank you so much for being part of this. We hope that it was informative, and we hope to see you again here soon in some of our upcoming things. Don't forget, we'll be at both FIBO and URSA. So if you're going to be there, please feel free to look us up, come in, test some of the equipment, play on it. It'll be fun. If you're at URSA, I'll see you there. If you're at FIBO, I'm assuming you guys will be there, or at least you'll have.
Absolutely.
All right, you'll be able to see the rock stars, those two rock stars at FIBO. So thank you guys, and we will be having a webinar coming out later this month. I believe it's March 30th, and it'll be on corporate wellness. So if you want to hear some more information about corporate wellness and how some of this stuff fits into that and the benefits of strength training in a corporate wellness program, feel free to register for that as well. You can jump on our website and sign up for that in the education tab under webinars. Thank you all. Have a great and wonderful rest of your week. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, everyone.